Hi, I'm Wayne DeBey from the Flower Nook in Salina, Kansas. This time of year, people start to ask, would you make bows for me? The answer, of course, is always yes. We'll be happy to make bows. I thought I would do a little video today showing you how I make a bow, and perhaps it will teach you how to do it. First off, I want to start with a regular satin. This is florist satin, and this width we call a number 9. And in order to make a bow, you don't have to take the spool apart. That just happened. You want to take it, I say stick the tongue out. You want the tongue to stick out, and you want to squeeze it together at this point. This is a one-sided ribbon, so you want to turn your ribbon and pull it up over your thumb so that the face of the ribbon is showing. And at this point then it is a matter of squeezing it. Every time you put it between your fingers, you squeeze it. So I'm going to put a loop on, squeeze it, turn my ribbon, come out, put an equal loop on the other side, and go back to the center, squeeze that, and essentially from here on out it's a matter of going as many loops as you want. You want to step each loop out just a little bit so that your bow becomes more well-rounded. An average bow will take about 6 yards when I'm making it like this. I'm going to make a 5-loop bow to start, which means there are 5 loops on each side. And again, I have stepped each loop out a little bit. And now I'm going to do the tails. I'm going to twist so that my face is forward. Take a pair of scissors. Always have a good pair of sharp scissors at hand. You could leave it like this. I like to go ahead and put another set of tails behind it. So how you do that? Simply push it in, twist it over one more time, and pull it down. Then, the big secret of making a good bow is to take a wire. You want to push it through the center. If you note here where my thumb is, I'm pushing it through the center. I'm going to pull it down, and I'm going to pull this tight. A tight center will let you move your loops around. You want to twist it a number of times so that you have a good tight center, and then, like I said, you can pull your loops around and go from there. One last thing that I like to do, I like to finish my ribbon so I don't have this blunt cut. 2 ways of doing that. It could be as simple as taking your scissors and do a nice angle. Another way that I like to do it is to do what I call a dovetail, where you fold the ribbon onto itself and then you come in and cut a V out. For some reason I think this is a more pleasing way to do it. This is with a number 9. I want to also show a couple of other types of ribbon that you can work with. This is a wired ribbon, and it has a wire on each side, so when you form it, it will stay there. Again, my basic procedure is the same: to stick the tongue out, if you will, then to turn the ribbon at this point, bring it up and over your thumb, and then tuck and squeeze. And at this point, again, then it is a matter of pulling the ribbon back and forth, making the loops, doing it the number of loops that you want. One of the beauties of wired ribbon is that it is a little simpler to work with. Some wired ribbons will be double-sided, and you don't necessarily have to do the squeeze and twist in the center. Although I think that makes for a smaller center, it makes it easier to be able to tie a bow. and you'll have a less bulk in your fingers. So again, I'm going to do 5 loops on each side. Going to cut my tails. Going to take the extra piece behind again, and that is just a matter of just squeezing it in, turning it, and bringing it down so that you've got your tails on each side. So we have really, if you can look at this, the center of the bow is right here on my thumb. There should be half and half. That's where I'm putting this wire through. I'm going to go through my hand on the back side, and again I'm going to pull it. You want to pull that bow tight. Like I said, a tight center will let you move the loops around, will let you adjust your bow regardless of the type of ribbon. So that's an easy way to work with a wired ribbon. The last one I want to show you is a little trickier. There are lots of widths of ribbon. This is a 6-inch, and this is the mesh ribbon. We see a lot of mesh on the market right now. And I'm going to start with my end. I'm going to come in, fold it, and cut that V, or some people call it a dovetail, in it. I'm going to start with that same basic plan to squish it together. You have a lot more material here. Now this ribbon, if you will look, doesn't really have a side that one side is better than the other. Because this is so big, I think I will not do the center loop. And I will come back and start making my loops on each side. Essentially, you can make a bow as big as your hand can hold. You will find that your hand, if you're not used to this, you probably will have some cramping if you're holding a bow tightly for any length of time. And sometimes all you can do is drop the ribbon, shake it out, and start again. I do like the mesh in that it's big and beautiful and fluffy. Works very well for a lot of outdoor applications as well as indoor. This has got the little mylar thread running through it, so it throws the light around. There I reverted to my old habit of twisting in the center. Old habits are hard to break. It seems like we're using a lot of material, but it's because of the width of the ribbon. So maybe on this one I will stop with a 3 bow on each side, 3 loop on each side. I'm going to cut it off. I'm going to come here one last pass and put my tails underneath. And when I'm cutting across here, I'm trying to find a line through the ribbon and cut it so that I have a fairly square end to work with. Take my wire. Let's see if we can find a center in here. Pull it again. This one you will want to pull a lot tighter because of the amount of material you have in the center if you're going to have control over the bow. What I've shown you today are all fall bows. It works the same with Christmas ribbon, and actually I have missed right here. I missed that loop. So rather than put the whole thing apart, I'm going to just come back and squeeze this together, push it back into that center, take another piece of wire, come up and over, and if I get my fingers to work, pull again. This time we've already got one wire in, so It's not going to pull up as much, but twist it, and that way, rather than have to drop it and start over, I've salvaged that bow. And no one's any the wiser, except for everyone out there, that I ever had to do that. Again, you can finish your ends and go from there. I hope that you've enjoyed this lesson. Watch for other lessons in the future. I'm Wayne DeBey, AIFD, from the Flower Nook in downtown Salina, Kansas.